uh, primary settings of the Navigate Pro, whether it's a soft phone or working in partner mode. Partner mode is controlling your desk phone. You can see here we have our Navigate Pro control panel on display. If this isn't on display, it's out of the way. You see in the system tray at the bottom here, and we have our Navigate Pro icon. If this isn't on display, if you go into your up arrow, you'd see the icon in here and you'd drop it into your system tray, but mine's already there. So now it's in the system tray, I can right click and I can look at various options. So for example, I want to see my favourites. I can click and view my favourites, and you can see here a couple of users busy on the phone. Or if I wanted to see my call history, again I can bring up my call history and see the call history on the display here. So answered calls, missed calls, etc. And I can drop those down. So having that in the corner is a handy feature. But I want to show you the Navigate control. So we go into our Navigate control. On the side you see the settings icon here. Now for settings, click on the settings, and the first thing you notice is D&D. So I want to put the user onto D&D. I click in D&D, and now icon here is showing the time on Do Not Disturb. The icon to the left that you saw changing there from red to green, that's for call center working. So you'd only see this if you're a call center agent. So please ignore that if you're non-call center. But again, if I just put that into D&D, you see that I clicked and went to D&D, or I can click again and take it off. Or whilst the D&D is on, I can double click on a display here and it takes it off as well. So I can either go into the settings or click within the application to remove D&D. My user mode, so am I a soft phone user or am I controlling my desk phone? So your IT department will define how these are set up with the settings behind. But at the moment I'm running a soft phone mode because I'm working remotely, not using a desk phone. You can also see the next option is in groups. So what groups am I allowed to receive calls on? Now this is an administration setting, so it's whether your administrator has allowed you to see this feature or not. So at the moment you can see I'm allowed to be in the sales group, the main group, and the sales overflow. If I wanted to put myself, say, into main group because there were some illnesses and I was helping to cover, I can click on now in the main group. If we should take that setting away, I can go back in again and remove the main group. I'm now taken out of the main group. You can divert calls. Now there's two elements to this. There's how do you want to divert calls, and then where to. So you see here you've got none, so there's no mobile forwarding set to a number. I've got mobile, spare one, and assistant. If you go into your user configurations, you can actually set up those forwarding numbers. So you see here I've gone into, if I show that again, I went into my user configuration, and then I go to numbers, and then by entering these numbers up here, you can see it recognised I had mobile, assistant, and spare one setting. I don't have a home, which is why that option didn't appear. So you can enter your numbers in here, and therefore when you then go back to the settings, we can say set up a divert call. So if I want to set up personal, I click on personal, and then I choose which number to divert to. So I want to divert to mobile, and you can see on display I've got this icon that's telling me I've got a personal divert set, and it's ringing to my mobile. What I may wish to happen is for not just to forward calls, but it to still ring my soft phone or desk phone at the same time. So if I go back into the settings, I wish it to remain calling my mobile, so I leave the mobile on, but I go back to divert calls, and I'll have it dual ring, so it'll ring both devices at the same time. So it's going to ring my mobile and my desk phone or soft phone concurrently. If I was part of a hunt group, where you saw me choose hunt groups earlier, if I wish the group calls to ring me on my mobile at the same time, if I go back into my settings and then set all, then that would forward both my DDI stroke internal calls and any calls to the group would also ring out to my mobile. And again, if I then put the setting onto dual, those same calls will ring through to both my desk phone and to my mobile that I forwarded to. For now, if I just now take that off. You then have out of office. So if you pre-recorded your various out of office greetings, so you're in the office, in meeting, at lunch, on holiday or off site, then for example if I was recorded on holiday greeting and it's now Friday evening, I'm going on holiday, I can now click and I've now put myself onto holiday. You see down in the system tray here, their icon is now saying I'm on holiday to notify me. So when I come back off holiday, I can see my settings still for holiday. And also on here, there's a palm tree showing on here that I'm on holiday as well. So I just simply click into here and take the on holiday off and put myself back into the office. If you wish to record these greetings, if you dial 1571 and dial into voicemail there, just hit return. That will take you into voicemail, and you'll hear a series of prompts telling you how to record your voicemail greeting. So you listen to the options and it instructs you how to record your greetings. If you're going to user configuration, there's a number of nice features here. One of the previous videos you may have seen, we're talking about connecting into Outlook. So if you've got Outlook on your PC and you wish to look into your Outlook contacts when searching for calls, you can activate and then look at your Outlook contacts. Now it sees I recognise that I'm looking into my Outlook contacts folder and it's synchronising those contacts. I could go to my call panel, so I could decide if I want where I want my call panel to appear. So if I just close that, you see there, just waiting for the sync to finish. I've got quite a few thousand contacts there, so it's taking a few seconds. But as that progresses through, that will then be updated. You can also see it's open. I didn't have Outlook open, so it's opened Outlook in the bottom there, just while it's performing the sync. We just wait for that to finish. Sorry about this. It's nearly there now. So that's all ready. So now if I, for example, look into a contact and I type in, say, Gary, if I can spell correctly, so type in Gary, you can see here where I've typed in a Gary, it's telling me that there's numbers, Garys, I've got different Garys here stored in the main system directory. I've also got a Gary who's in the system and he's available on a call, so he's an internal user. And you can see here there's an Outlook icon, so Gary again is telling me I've also got him programmed into my Outlook. And you notice also I might have different numbers against individuals, whether the internal numbers are the same as the external, but that information is showing up there. Oh, sorry, there's a call just coming through as we're presenting, so I'll just reject that call. Hopefully that perhaps will go through to my voicemail, if they hang on, of course. If I go back into my user settings, then within my user settings, I've got other such features. So, for example, hotkey dialing. If I want to be able to highlight and dial, I've got it set so if I highlight a number and press F5, it dial. Now, your laptop or PC may use F5 for another command, so therefore you may want to change your F commands. Or if it makes it simple, you may want to do a double click, so perhaps a control stroke F2 will allow the call to progress. So just a matter of setting those and ensuring that you've got the hotkey enabled on here. The favourite panel. So the favourite panel, we just bring up our favourite panel. There's the favourites, and we can see who's busy on the phone or not. Now, if I bring up, say, another application here, you can see my favourite panel is on top, and I can move this around and decide. Oh, there's, sorry, another call there. I can move this around and decide where to have this on display. If I go back into my settings, having that always on top is in the favourite settings. So I go into users, and I go into the favourite panel, and you see I've got it always on top of the application, which is why even though I've got my web browser, or that could be my email, etc., this is staying on top. If I deselect that, then that will go away now. So if I click elsewhere, it would now gone to the background, so I can click into the system tray to bring it back to the foreground again, so I can then see my favourites, and you see it opens up where I was before. Or rather than having a couple of applications working separately, what we may want to do, if I go back into the into the settings here, and back to my favourite panel, and you see it says enable docking on Navigate Control. If I now do this and give this a wiggle, you see now that my control panel and my favourites are following each other around. So I can always, when I bring up my control panel, I can always see if people are busy or not. And then the same thing will happen if I set this to always on top. So my favourite panel, I want to always stay on top of applications, and I now close that. So when I drop this and bring this back up again, you see everything is now, the two sections are always staying on top. And let's just see if we've missed anything else there. User configurations. Along the top, we've got some various settings. So you saw a moment ago I set up the forwarding numbers, D&D exceptions. So if I'm on D&D and someone's trying to call me, I can put them into here. So even though I'm on Do Not Disturb, they will still ring my phone. So in olden days, that was referred to perhaps as manager-secretary working, where the secretary can still call the manager even though the manager was not available. So a similar sort of thing, or some phones use the term VIP list. So these are the important people that can call you even though that you're on Do Not Disturb. So you can just add the number here and it'll populate the list. Forwarding, do you want any sort of rules if you're busy or no answer? what do you want to forward internal calls only or external or both type of calls, and you enter the number where you want the calls forwarded to. So that could forward to another member of a team or to another individual. And favorites here is where we can set up the users are showing over here. This is one way, or your admin can do this for you. And if you wish to change your ring tunes, you can update and change your ring tunes through here. And again, your admin will advise you on what tones to add. Advanced features is then us going back into our main features here and then can carry on as we were before. Thank you for your time.